I would like to start with giving some highlights from your player career and also coaching career. I will try to say few of them because it's a long list. So you were ATP #2 when you were playing, and then you won 12 ATP titles.
Yes.
And then you played French Open. You were French Open finalist, and unfortunately, you have to stop early age due to your hip and knee injuries. But you jumped into coaching very soon. I'm sure it was a bit disappointing time, but I saw that Swedish Federation took you in their system, so that's quite good. And then you started coaching Thomas Johansson on tour. You started with him. And after that, obviously, Robin Söderling, it was a very successful 4 years. He reached #2 in the world, 2 French Open finals. And after that, you started the Academy Good to Great in 2001, which is one of the best academies, best facility I ever been. After that, obviously, Stan was your longest coaching period. He reached #3 and amazing runs in the Grand Slams. And then you were coach of the year in 2016. I saw that, but obviously you had many successful years. So awards are, I'm sure, just a small part of it. So this is my highlights. I hope I'm not missing something big.
No, it's great. It's great. It's yeah, it's nice introduction. Thank you very much. And,
no worries.
Yeah, happy to hear that you liked our academy, and yeah, we're working very hard to try to always become better at what we do. We are a good team of coaches, and you know, yeah, we work hard every day. So it was a great introduction, and I'm looking forward to talk to you again.
Thank you. So I would like to start with how are you and what are you doing in these days? Are you back in Stockholm?
Yeah, I'm back in Stockholm working in the academy. I don't have any professional player at the moment that I travel with. So I've been at home for, I think almost 2 years now. I'm helping Stan still on and off a little bit some weeks when Danny Valverdu, his coach, cannot travel, or you know, he has kids also. So then I try to help his team whenever they like. Whenever there is a practice week or something, I go to Geneva or Monte Carlo to help out a little bit. But yeah, and apart from that, I'm working at the academy full time. We have 35 players now full time, and yeah, between the age of 11, 12 until maybe 18, 19, it's the core for the academy. So I'm working a lot with the younger players, and then I'm also working with the tournament, ATP tournament 250 in Båstad. So that's what I'm doing.
Which was lately, no? It was.
It was only 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
And yeah, we had a great list of players this year, because Båstad was the only tournament in Europe that week. Normally we always go against Gestad or some other tournaments, but this week we were alone, and yeah, we had, you know, tremendous field and a great crowd. We had 68,000, I think, for the week, so it was really good, sold out the last 4 days. So yeah, it was very, very successful.
And very nice to hear. So I will start with from tournaments to Swedish tennis culture. Obviously, you have a huge tennis culture in Sweden. You had amazing players like Borg, Wilander, Edberg, Johansson, many names that I can count, and also in girls in Larsen, and Arvidsson was in top 100 for many years. And I know my generation Pettersson is now in top 100 for many years, which she was also practicing in your academy when I was there.
Yeah.
And it was also a great experience to be on court with you and her. So I would like to ask, because in Turkey, I mean, why I'm doing this project is I would like people to know deep key points of tennis, how we can develop a player, how we can have a tennis culture. So what do you think the key points of having this good tennis culture, this many tennis players?
Well, I think it all started with having someone who became, you know, #1 in the world, and being like a really role model for everyone, and that was Björn Borg. So he started the whole era of Swedish tennis. Björn came, he won Wimbledon a couple of times, and you know, he was one of the the biggest athletes of all times, you know, all around the world. He was the first big famous athlete, and you know, he was you know, so all the kids in Sweden wanted to play tennis.
Mm-hmm.
Then came Edberg, and then came Wilander, and you know, then all of a sudden there was like a ball that started to roll, and people started to play tennis, and you know, all the talented kids, you know, they choose tennis before something else.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, how things started a little bit, and we were building tennis courts all over Sweden, not only the big cities but also in the small cities. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people from different backgrounds, from different you know, different financial background, everybody wanted to play tennis. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how things started to develop.
Is it an expensive sport in Sweden to play tennis?
Well, actually, it's not. It's not so expensive. I mean, court booking, it's not so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And to be a general like to play in a club in Sweden, it's not more expensive than any other sports. I would say it's a little bit less expensive because you don't need any like equipment. Like we compare a lot of sports to ice hockey and
Mm-hmm.
soccer. Soccer is big all over the world, but also ice hockey here is big. A lot of kids, especially boys, they play ice hockey during the winter, and then you need skates and you need gloves and you need protection,
Yeah.
helmet. You know, that's a lot of money just in equipment. But
Mm-hmm.
in tennis, you basically just need your racket and a pair of shoes, so it's not too expensive.
Okay, good. So I would like to go back to the coaching career of
Mm,
you.
mm,
When I was in your academy, I
mm,
was able to spend some hours with you on the court, and I
mm,
could feel the energy, your passion towards tennis. Even when you were playing, I was like
mm,
saying, okay, I have to be more energetic. I have to give more to it,
mm.
because you were like just sweating next to me playing. And I do believe you know how to bring the best out of the player. That's what I experienced. So
Okay.
I would like to ask you, how do you define the good coaching, like from you or as you view, like what are the good values the coaches needs to have?
Yeah, well, you need to be humble. You need to understand that all the players you have in front of you, everyone is different. So you
Mm-hmm.
need to coach everyone a little bit differently as well. We are all human beings, and some players are more aggressive, some are more defensive, some are more extroverts, some are more introverts. So I think you need to take this in consideration a little bit, and still, yeah, still try to get the best out of every player. But I look a lot at values instead of like just forehand, backhand, just the technique. You know, I look a
Mm-hmm.
lot on you know, on other things as well. So I think it's more important to look at the person you have in front of you, and where does this person want to go, and you know, it's so, because life is so much more than just forehand and backhand, and yeah, I think that's one key aspect, to look at the person in front of you before the athlete. So sometimes, you know, when I coach players, I can have a sense of feeling that this player have problems outside the tennis court, or has slept bad, and you know, is not really ready to practice maybe 3-4 hours this day, which was the plan from the beginning. Then it's much better, I think, in my opinion, to take away
Mm-hmm.
3 hours and just practice 1 hour, or even just go for a coffee, you know, to talk a little bit, instead of practicing. So for me, it's more important to look at that first, and then we can start to look at the technique.
Yeah.
But a good coach also has to know, to have a good eye for technique as well. You know, where do you produce power, where is the lack of power, you know, where does it come from biomechanically, to have a good sense of that as well. You need, of course, to be able to be a good tennis coach.
Yeah, in your interviews, you mentioned a lot about Steve that, about Stan, that you do spend a lot of good time outside of the court and you are more like a friend. So I'm sure after many years you are having communication without even talking,
Yeah, no, it's true.
maybe.
Yeah, no, it's true, and yeah, and that's yeah, I can feel him, how the mood is, and if he wants to be pushed that day, or if he wants to be, you know, if he wants me to be quiet. So this is also like something that you have to feel,
Yeah.
okay, today is a good day to push him, or today he needs to be pushed, or today I need to be quiet. and yeah, and it's something that you just need to have.
So can we also look from the other side? Like when you say when you choose the players, you look at the values a lot. For you, when you choose a player, like you work with a lot of good players. So what kind of values the player needs to have so you would like to work with them?
It's not so much that I like to work with the player or not. It's more for me, if I just see the pro players that I've been working with, it's more about timing actually. So when I was with Robin, it was a good time of my life. I had 4 years together with him, traveling like a lot. And then we had kids, and the kids started to become a little bit older, and then it was a good timing to start maybe a little bit with someone else again. So I started a couple of weeks with Stan, and we really clicked. We really, we liked each other from the first moment, and he started to have good results. So it was not, and of course I felt like Stan was a little bit underachiever in big tournaments. So he had a great potential, yes, but that was not the reason why I started to spend more time with him. I started to spend more time with him because he was a nice guy. He was always working hard. He was listening, so that makes it a little bit more interesting and more fun for a coach, to work with someone who is very coachable, and things like that. I think is more important the older you get also. So it's different. It's not like, okay, I choose which one I want to coach. It's more the timing and that that the chemistry is there. And of course it's nice if you see a potential, but it doesn't need to be, and believe me, it doesn't need to be like top 10 in the world. It can be a junior that has good potential, or it can be anyone that has the potential to become better. And the level doesn't need to be always ATP or WTA.
Yeah. And you have always worked with the men's tennis most of the time, but I also do know, you work with
you a little
Sabalenka.
bit. I coach you a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yes, but I mean on the tour for some time, I hope it could happen, but you work with Sabalenka as well. I know for the short time you helped her. And she is a very strong character, very big personality. And when you play against her, you also feel that a lot on the other side of the court. So I want to ask you the differences between the men's tennis and the women's tennis. Is there a big difference?
No, not so much. I mean, the court is the same size, and the rules are the same. So it's not. I think it's more or less the same. That different things. One thing is, of course, the aspect of that the serve is more important in men's tennis that it is in women's tennis. So the returns are a little bit more important. But apart from that, I think, maybe girls go down the line a little bit more often. The patterns are a little bit different, but I think, when I coached Aryna I was involved with her for a year, maybe, when she was, I think she was ranked maybe 90 in the world or something like that. I think the work that we did was more or less the same, like I did with Stan. And so for me, the difference was not huge, I have to say. And I always told everyone, and including myself, that I wanted to try to see how it was to coach on the WTA tour as well. I haven't really done that in a tournament. I've been around Federation Cup when Aryna was playing in Belarus. I was there, so I've been around a little bit. But it's nice to have different experience. And my experience with coaching women is that it's more or less the same for me.
Yeah. So we will see you back on WTA tour, or you will keep going on ATP?
Let's see.
Okay, so I have seen one of your videos on YouTube, and there you are making a really long and explained for Ghent. It was for Ghent presentation. It's very useful. I'm sure the people whoever watched this video should go to and watch that one too. I got a lot of notes from there. And you are mentioning there about talent. You are making definition of talent.
Yes.
Because in Turkey, we always say talent. We have talented players. We have talented players, but obviously never enough, and
No.
it always comes to the point where we say some people's name and then we don't see them again in few years. So
No.
how do you define talent, and how important is it in our sport?
No, it's super important to define talent, and talent for me, as I saying, probably saying this in this video, is the ability to work hard day in and day out, 365 days of the year, year in and year out, without losing motivation, you know. Because there will be times when you lose a lot, maybe first round, second round, and you don't have time to, you know, you have 1 week until the next match, and you go through tough phases, you know. For me, I've been involved in tennis for so long, and I've seen so many juniors make it to the pros. I've seen juniors that don't make it to the pros, and many times it's because of the lack of consistency, of the lack of hard work, but you know, not 1 week or 2 weeks, but all the time. But then I've also seen you know, not so talented players when they are younger, but they work hard. So they work hard, they start to progress a little bit, and all of a sudden, you know, that they become great. So if you have this ability to work hard every day and be very serious about your sport, you have a good chance to make it. So my definition of talent is that, you know, the ability to work hard day in and day out. That's, for me, that is the talent, because you have a lot of kids with good skills. You know, you have good hands, you have good coordination, you have, you know, you have all the things, you have good touch and everything, and it looks smooth technique, you know. But if you don't have that talent hard, in the end, it's going to be tough to make it.
Yeah, true. And also in that same video, you have mentioned the player development in all aspects, like 360 degrees. So which I also found these two definitions, when I saw them, I said, okay, you know, like if they give me a player that is 8 years old, okay, I know which way to do it, you know, like it's kind of not no, but I know that I have the guides at least. So can you
Oh, nice.
can you also tell me about it a little bit? Because like you said, we do have very young players in early age, but to make that constant work, you are always saying like 10 years, I'm thinking always 10 years ahead with one player, which is very important. I mean, we should not think about now, like it doesn't matter that the girl is or boy is good at 12 years of age, you know, we should always try to think long term ahead. So could you explain about it a little bit?
Yeah, no, if you look, you know, you have young players, you need to look 10 years ahead. Of course, you need to think about, okay, how does this player want to play when they are, let's say, 22? They are 12. Okay, in 10 years, they are 22. They're going to break into top 100, hopefully. How do they want to play? Do they want to be an aggressive player, defensive player? How are the characteristic of this player? Introvert, extrovert? You have to take all these things in consideration, and then you have try to. I always try to put the name, to put like an ATP. If you have someone who's 12 years old, you have a girl, and then ask her, how is your role model? How would you like to play? Name one player on the WTA tour that you would like to play a little bit similar to when you are 22. So then you have a little bit of okay, you have a framework, and then it's important. The 360 model is just looking at all the aspects of a person, of a human being. Actually, it's not only tennis, it's so much more than tennis, and you know that also. It's about the fitness, it's about the mental side, it's about the parents, it's about the friends that you have, it's about the school that you have when you're 13, 14, 15, because you need to maybe have a little bit of a flexible school in order to get the amount of
that's a big problem in Turkey.
No, and it's a little bit the same in Sweden as well. We don't have really online schooling yet, but you know, you have to let the parents know that, okay, school is number one priority, but if we're good in school, maybe try to speak with the teacher or the principal or the head of the school to try to get maybe 1 or 2 mornings in the week free.
Till which age practice. Do you think, like at what age we should consider that?
I think we have one girl here now, she's 11, and we start now a little bit, 11, 12 years old, maybe 12, to come maybe one day per week, a little bit before school, and then increasingly a little bit 13, 14, because when they are out of, let's say 14, 15, they need to be able to have the base physically and tennis wise, technically, that they can start to practice really hard. But if you don't have the base when you're 14, 15 and you're out of the yeah, you know, then it's tough to all of a sudden start to practice hard when you're 14, 15. You need to build it up a little bit. So
yeah.
so the 360 model is looking at that, looking at all the aspects of a person. You know, how are the parents? This kid feel a lot of pressure from the parents? Well, then you need to speak a little bit with the parents. But we need the parents because we need them to drive to and from practice and many times during the weekends to go to tournaments. So we need the parents also. So it's a little bit of a parent education as well. And looking at the friends, you know, you need a social life as well outside the tennis, because otherwise life will become too boring. So you need that as well, and the school and the fitness and the mental side, and you know, and then also of course the financial part as well, because when you're 14, 15, maybe you're going to start traveling abroad a little bit, and that's going to cost money. And how can we find sponsors? And you know, so it's a puzzle that needs to be put in place, that I look at.
All the things you say, when you say it, I know you have it in your academy.
Yeah.
Because when I was there, I know you have for the Swedish players some sponsorships, right?
Yeah, we have scholarships that we give. So no Swedish players are paying basically anything, or paying a little bit.
Wow.
We don't want them to pay nothing, because we think it's important to invest a little bit. We did that in the past, and that's a mistake that we did. But we have scholarships that we give to the Swedish players.
That's really good. And also they can stay in the academy. They have great food every day, which I have experienced.
Yeah.
And you have the social life, because there are a lot of players. Yeah, it's amazing. You know, it's when I look at it like a place I would like to have, it's exactly like yours. So it's amazing.
Nice. And now we also have we added like a social manager now also. So we have 2-3 nights per week. We have someone coming, and we take the kids to like a shopping mall or to cinema, or you know, doing different kinds of things. So it's important.
I also remember when I was there, you were bringing everyone together and taking them into one room and making a meeting with them, which I found it fascinating, because you telling them, like Magnus Norman, the coach and the great coach and the great player, is telling kids how to clean their room, how to keep the room tidy, and the academy. So I was very affected by that, because you are a great mentor for all of them. And also when I was there, it was amazing. When I was there, I was like 22, and I'm saying, wow, like, you know, I kind of learned again the way how to clean the room, you know. It's
clean your
no, it was amazing, like, to hear from someone like you about this key base habits, you know. It's quite important. That's what we need to have also.
But it's a little bit like, you know, you start with you start with that, you build the person a little bit, and I think if you can and that's part of that as well, you know. One other thing is trying to enter tournaments when you are getting a little bit older alone, you know, with IPIN and everything. So you don't always need the parents or the coach. You need to take a little bit own responsibility for your career, you should know your warm-up program, you should know your fitness program. Okay, now I lost maybe on Monday, I have my next match on Thursday, I don't have my coach here, but I still know what to do fitness wise, you know. So you don't always need a fitness coach to be there. So that's also one of the principles that we have.
Yeah, once they grow up like that, they are becoming more, they depend on themselves more, and the coach is still there to get help. So it's amazing. Yeah. So it's a bit more personal question now. So we obviously, unfortunately, go through tough times in our life, which it's a positive in the end. And I would like to ask you, how do you handle in the tough times? What kind of habits do you have when you are struggling, or when you had a sad defeat with your player? How do you react in these moments? What are your motivations?
Yeah, I think for a coach, I think it's important to be there even more when things are not going so well. It can be tennis wise, and it can be private life, it can be whatever, you know. If you're going through tough times, I think it's important to show that you are there and you care, and you know, even more, because I think that's how you build the relationship, that's how you build the trust, and so I think super important, not only to play, to do your hour and then go home, like to do your hour, maybe go to the gym, stretch together, spend time together, you know, whatever, go to get something to eat together, whatever. So I think that's important, to be there even more when things are not going so well, and try to be positive, try to look at the, you know, the whole process that you're going through, instead of just maybe one or two matches, you know, look at the big picture a little bit. That's what I like to do, to zoom out a little bit and to see, okay, we are going somewhere. This was one thing that was not maybe great, what's going down a little bit, but you know, tomorrow we have a new chance, we can go out and practice, and we know, always try to learn, even if you lose, if you win, always try to learn, look at the process, the big picture, and as a coach, try to be there, try to encourage, try to be positive, you know, try to be very constructive with what we can do better for the next time, and you know, try to impose confidence and trust, and you know, motivation, even on a tough day.
Yeah, great. So also in your personal life, probably seeing a bigger picture, I believe.
Yeah.
I do know you do a lot of sports, like you do paddle, you play paddle, you were doing cycling when I was there. So
Yeah.
does it help you to also like feel much better outside of the court?
For me, yes. Also outside of my work as a coach, because as a coach, you give a lot of energy. You give a lot. So my way of getting something back is through sports, through different things. I did in the past. I did some triathlon. I was cycling, like you said, and now maybe I do less tough things, but playing paddle and doing sports. I think because it reconnects your brain, you get energy back, it makes you feel good. So I think it's important as a coach also, if you have coaches listening, to also, you know, take care of yourself a little bit, because you can spend many times on court, many hours per day, and at the end of the day maybe you're tired, or you know, so in order to give energy to someone else, you need to have energy yourself. And my recommendation is you don't need to do Ironman. That's not what I'm saying. you can do something, you know, you go for a walk, or you know, do things, but take care of yourself, read a book, whatever, you know. If you like yoga, then go for yoga, but to give yourself that energy to be able to give back, because that's how you're going to stay long in the game of coaching.
I think it will be super useful for the Turkish coaches or general coaches.
All the coaches are going to do Ironman, aren't they?
Oh yeah, next year. So my last questions for you will be, what is your short-term goals? Like, are you going to be more in the academy now, or do you have any plans to go back on tour?
No, short term, I think the last couple of years has been a lot back home. So it's been nice to spend more time at home. And it's the first time in my life that I felt like I want to spend more time at home, which has been nice. Been happy with going every day to the academy and you know, practicing with the young kids. But that's still my short-term goal. And you know, once in a while I like to go back on the tour. Let's see if it's gonna be. I don't think I'm gonna go back to full time like I was in the past, but you know, I'm open to travel a little bit on the tour. So let's see. Now I'm happy to help Stan on and off a little bit, a couple of weeks, but you know, I would be happy to do like 10-15 weeks maybe, but not 25-30 weeks like I did in the past. I think that's tough to do, but a little bit on tour would be nice.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Magnus. To have you here was a pleasure, and to know you as a person also was a pleasure. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ipek. Nice speaking to you again.
Thank you. See you.
Bye.